Hi guys, it's Melissa from Real Estate Savvy, and today I'm going to teach you all about comps. So let's get started. So in real estate, there's a thing called CMAs, or comparable market analysis, or otherwise known as comps. And basically the purpose of these is to establish value for a property. So if you're selling a home, you want to know what other homes in the area have sold for so that you can sell yours for a comparable price. And if you're buying a home, you want to make sure that you don't overpay. So you want to see comps of what has sold in the area so that you can compare and make sure that you don't overpay. So it's a nice little system. Really it is a system that appraisers use. It's basically kind of similar to an appraisal in the sense that we use the same data. Realtors and appraisers use the same data off the MLS. Now, appraisers have more restrictions, more things that they look at. Realtors just basically look at data, let the MLS help them, and then give you the figures so that you can make an educated decision. So it's a really helpful thing, and you can only obtain the data through the MLS, and you can only, which is the multiple listing service, and you can only get access to the multiple listing service if you're in the industry. So it's not something that you can necessarily do yourself. You can go on sites like Redfin, and they will give you an estimate of what they think a house is worth, but they only look at a couple homes, and I'm not sure how comprehensive their data is that they use. I do know some of the homes I've seen them compare, they've gotten the sales price right, but I don't know how comprehensive their search is in doing the comps, so I would not rely on them alone. So let's talk about comps. I have a couple of examples that I want to show you, and I have to tell you, I tried to film this several times this morning and it wouldn't record, and so I have the examples and I don't know which one's going to come up first, and we're just going to go through this together. So the very first thing that would happen is, let me share my screen. Is that how I do it? Okay. So the very first thing is you would find a house that you love, and you would probably go see it with your realtor, and then you would tell them, okay, I want to think about an offer on this home. Please, tell me, is it priced well or whatever. So here's an example of a home in my area that is for sale, and I just pulled it up so you could see it. It is, let's see, 7 bedrooms. Looks like it's just under 4,300 square feet. It's a 2-story with a basement, built in 1987, has a 2-car garage. Okay, so what your realtor would do is, if you were interested in this home, your realtor would go in and create a CMA. So you don't really need to know all the ins and outs of how to do this, but I do just want to pull it up so you can see. That house that I just had up was listed, I believe, at $539. And we're going to see if that price is comparable. So your realtor would put the MLS number in, which is the number that it shows up in the MLS system. And they need to look at sold properties. Some realtors like to look at properties that are still for sale. And my theory on that is anybody can price anything for whatever price they want. It doesn't mean that it will sell for that price. So I follow what appraisers do, and I only look at sold, and I look at the same type of home. So I wouldn't look at a cabin or an A-frame or a single level if I've got a 2-story going on. And appraisers typically stay within 1 mile, and they typically go back 90 to 120 days. I'm going to go back 120. And that is going to give me 2 matches over here. So I pull this up. Because I know the area, I already know these streets and I know that they're nearby. So I'm not worried about being within the 1 mile range. And I know that they're similar because they're, you know, between 4,000 and 5,000 square feet, roughly. And they're 2 stories. The MLS has figured this all out for me. They both have 7 bedrooms, 4 baths, just like, or very similar to our property that we're checking out. So I check those properties, and they've sold recently. Sorry. So I check those properties. I go down here, and it tells me that the property I am interested in has a comp price of $539,190, and it is listed for sale at $539. So to me, that agent is basically using the comps I just pulled up. There shouldn't really be a debate about value. I'm not really sure how much they'll negotiate. It really depends on their situation. But it is listed at a fair price for what has sold recently in the neighborhood. So I want to pull up another one that is a little bit different. Okay, so let me go out of here. And I'm not doing this to put anyone down. I'm just trying to show you how comps can be variable and change, and sometimes priced a little bit high to make the value appear higher than it really is. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put, well, let me show you this property first. Okay, beautiful house. Listed for $745,000, 2-story, built in 2003, for roughly 4,400 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3-car garage. I know from knowing this area, this home sits on a street that overlooks the valley, so I know they have a view. Most likely the home has been updated. We could look into that further. You would know that as a client if you had already gotten into the home. But I'm a little concerned about this price. I understand paying more for newer, but that price concerns me. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do exactly what we did before to pull up a CMA. Sorry, I want to make sure I get the number right. Okay. So it gives me 18 choices until I choose sold. And it gives me 11. And I'm going to go, you can see here the choices, the comps that come up. I'm going to go 120 days, make sure it's a 2-story. The age is right, 98 to 2008. The square footage is right. Bedrooms and baths are right. All of that. So I'm left with 2 choices, okay? When I do 120 days and I do sold and all of that. And it brings up 2 homes that I know, because I know the area, are right nearby. This one is 1 street away in the same subdivision, and this one is right below on the hill, still in a subdivision that is about the same age. Let me see, this was built in 2001. So I'm going to select both of those because I know that they're comparable. They've got the size, they've got the age, all of that. And I'm going to go here. Yes, I want to compare that home. My comps come up at 541. They're asking 745 for that house. Okay, does it mean that the price rock bottom or the absolute maximum should be 541? No, I mean, it has a view. It probably has some other features that are really nice. So I'm going to go back in here and just play with this for a minute to see if I can come up with anything, any reasoning for why they would be so high. So I'm going to refine my search. I'm going to open this up. And let's see what that does. Still 2. Go 180 days, which I don't agree with, but I've seen realtors go up to a year, sometimes more, go back that far. Okay, so again, this brings up more properties. That happens to bring up 2 that are on the higher end, this Stone Cliff and this Carriage House, which are going to help if you understand how to figure out an average. You're going to realize if you have a higher number than you had before, the average number is going to increase. So I am just going to select all of these. I know that they're nearby. And I'm actually going to take this one out because it does not have a finished basement. So all of these are 90% or more finished. So I have 4 properties, and I'm going to pull up my results. Sorry for the delay. Okay. And I come up with a comp price of $570 because I added those other properties in that had a little bit of a higher price than my initial ones. So this house is listed at $745. I can get $570. I might be able to justify $6, maybe even $625, maybe even $650, depending on the updates. I'd have to see. But I believe that this home is probably overpriced. An appraiser is going to look at the exact same things I'm looking at. There are plenty of comps within the area. We don't need to expand the search. We really don't need to expand the age. There's plenty to look at. And so no offense to those involved with this transaction. That's not my intention. I'm just trying to show you that sometimes the comps come in lower than the list price, and you want to know that going in. Okay. All right, so I'm back. So like I said, you want to know that going in. I can't tell you how many realtors in my own personal search I've said, I've pulled the comps on this property and I'm not getting what you're getting. Could you send me over how you figured that out? And they'll send me things, and it's like a home a year ago and 2 that are listed for sale in the neighborhood but haven't sold yet, and 3 that are a different kind of home with more features and 3 miles away. And I just have to say, really, because if you buy a home for more than the value, it's not going to appraise. So somebody's going to have to figure that out when that appraisal deadline comes, in which there is an appraisal deadline, because the seller either has to drop the price if the appraisal didn't come in at the price that they have it under contract for, or they run the risk of not dropping the price and asking the buyer to come up with cash to make up the difference, because the lender will only lend for what it appraises for. So comps are a really, really important part. And I've known realtors that don't ever pull comps. They'll just say, hey, it's a cute house. Let's write an offer. I think you should write an offer. And people will write an offer and they might end up overpaying. I don't know. I'm a stickler. One of the reasons I got my license was so that I could pull comps all the time. And I pull them every time I find a home. I pull the comps. And that will determine if we go to see them. And sometimes when I've called the realtors and said, hey, my comps don't match yours, I had one say to me, do you pull comps on every house you look at? And I said, you're darn right I do. So they're really, really important. So hopefully you have a better understanding of how that works and how it can be adjusted to show something that's higher or something that's right on target. Or you might have a comp that comes in that says, the house is, we value the house at $540 and they're only asking $510. So if you bought the house for $510, you'd have $30,000 in equity. So comps can be a really powerful tool, and I've known people that have submitted them with offers before to support the price that they're submitting. So I hope that this video helps you. If you'd like to know more about comps, or if I didn't answer all of your questions, or if you have questions, please leave your comments down below. I'd love to follow up with you on that. And I hope that you're enjoying this channel. I have more videos coming, and so we'll have some great topics. So until next time, always be always be smart and savvy in real estate.